Good morning, students. Good morning, Parth, Komal, Sangeeta, Kadambari, and all others who are in the process of joining in. Yes, Ajay. Good morning, Ajay. So, students, we are doing chapter 4 of your module, that is audit evidence. So, in last session, students, we had understood the meaning of audit evidence. We had read that audit evidence is the information used by the auditor in arriving, which helps in arriving at conclusions on basis of which his opinion is based. We had also understood that audit evidence includes information both from accounting records and other information. And we had also learnt about the meaning of assertions. What are assertions? We had understood that these are representations by management. These are contained in financial statements. However, these are used by the auditor to identify probable misstatements in financial statements. And we had also discussed about various types of assertions relating to class of transactions, relating to account balances, relating to disclosures and presentation. So all these things we had discussed, like occurrence, accuracy, existence. So all these things we had discussed in our last session. So today, students, we shall be discussing about relevance and reliability of audit evidence. What is sufficient appropriate audit evidence? So we have been reading this about since chapter 1, that an auditor obtains sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So I had given you a general idea of what is sufficient appropriate audit evidence, but today we shall be discussing it in some greater detail. We shall also be learning about the various types of audit procedures. What are the different kinds of procedures by which an auditor obtains information, or by which an auditor obtains audit evidence? And we shall be also doing essay 501, a new essay relating to obtaining of audit evidence in relation to certain selected items. Okay, so this is the overall broad view of the things which we are going to study today. So students, very generally, what do we mean by relevance of audit evidence? So let us first take relevance. What is relevance of audit evidence? So students, relevance means that audit evidence should be appropriate. It should be relevant in context of assertion being tested. Say for example, students, now try to understand it with the help of an example. Say students, auditor has sent external confirmation request to a third party, to a debtor to whom the company had sold the goods. So say the balance in the company's account comes is reflecting rupees 5 lakh. He sends confirmation request to confirm the amount. The third party also confirms that the balance is rupees 5 lakhs. So in this case, this procedure is relevant if the auditor is testing existence of account balance. तो इससे उसको क्या पता चलता है कि in fact the party is existing, the party is not fake. लेकिन क्या इससे उसको वैल्यूएशन के बारे में कुछ पता चलता है? अगर सपोज ये बैलेंस जो है 2 साल से खड़ा है, 3 साल से खड़ा है, तो पार्टी तो कह रही है 3 साल से खड़ा है, लेकिन whether it is properly valued in the books of accounts of the company, whether the company has made some sort of provision. So इससे उसको वैल्यूएशन के बारे में पूरा नहीं पता चलता. So if he is testing about valuation, then this doesn't tell him completely about it. So similarly, say if the auditor is attending physical inventory count, he is attending the process of inventory counting by company's personnel. So here what he is doing, he is concerned that inventories exist, and what is the condition of inventory. So it gives him evidence about the existence. Now it doesn't give him evidence about the valuation of inventories. Now for this he may have to apply some other procedures. So for testing valuation, for testing assertion pertaining to valuation, attendance at physical inventory count may not be a relevant procedure. Okay, so therefore a relevance of audit evidence has to be understood in that context, that the audit procedure by which the auditor is trying to obtain audit evidence, that procedure and in effect the evidence so obtained is relevant. It should have connection, it should have some logical connection with the assertion which the auditor is going to test, which the auditor is going to verify. Is clear, students? So you understand the meaning of relevance generally. So we shall be reading about what is there in your module. And what is reliability? Reliability means that reliability is related to trustworthiness. So like students, if an evidence is obtained from a source which is outside the entity, if it is external evidence, we generally say, not always, we generally say that audit evidence is more reliable, because it is coming from a third party, from a source outside the company. It is a sort of independent thing. So we say that audit evidence is more reliable. Similarly, say if the controls in the company are functioning satisfactorily, the controls are okay, control risk is low, the controls are operating as these are intended. So what does it show? What effect does it have on the reliability of audit evidence which is produced by the company, which is produced from the information generated by the company? So obviously, if the controls are functioning properly, if the controls are functioning satisfactorily, then reliability of audit evidence which is generated internally, it increases. So you're getting the point, guys? So the reliability of such an evidence increases because the internal system of the company is operating satisfactorily. तो सब कुछ बढ़िया चल रहा है, कंट्रोल्स बढ़िया है, वैसे ही काम कर रहे हैं जैसे कि मैनेजमेंट इंटेंड कर रही है. So what happens in such case? That the information being produced by the system of the company, by the internal controls, is more reliable. On the other hand, say if the controls are not functioning properly, control risk is high, then obviously the internal evidence produced by the company, the information being produced by the company is likely to be less reliable. So students, आपको इन दो बातों का मतलब समझ में आ गया? Reliability of audit evidence and relevance of audit evidence. So relevance of audit evidence is concerned with the kind of procedures which the auditor is deploying. Okay, it should have some connection with the assertion he is testing. So therefore audit evidence should be relevant in relation to the assertion being tested, and it should be reliable also. So these are the two things you have to keep in mind. And another thing is sufficiency and appropriateness. Now, what is sufficient audit evidence and what is appropriate audit evidence? Now, again, this thing we have been reading about since chapter 1, that auditor obtains sufficient appropriate audit evidence. But what is sufficient? Now, sufficient relates to the quantity of audit evidence. How much audit evidence is to be obtained? How much checking is to be done? So it relates to quantity of audit evidence. कितने अकाउंट मेरे को चेक कर रहे हैं? सपोज इन ट्रेड रिसीवेबल्स, हाउ मेनी अकाउंट्स आई हैव टू चेक? या सेल्स मेरे को 4 महीने की चेक करनी है या 2 महीने की चेक करनी है? सो दिस रिलेट्स टू क्वांटिटी ऑफ ऑडिट एविडेंस. सो इट इज कॉल्ड sufficiency. It is called sufficient. So the audit evidence should be sufficient to give comfort to the auditor. And what is appropriateness? Appropriateness relates to quality of audit evidence. कि वो जो ऑडिट एविडेंस ऑडिटर को मिल रहा है उसकी क्वालिटी क्या है? से स्टूडेंट्स, अब जो ऑडिट एविडेंस हम इसको रिलायबिलिटी के साथ कनेक्ट करते हैं, जो ऑडिट एविडेंस हमने अभी समझा है कि जो ऑडिट एविडेंस कंपनी के बाहर से मिलता है, जो एक्सटर्नल ऑडिट एविडेंस है, दैट इज जनरली मोर रिलायबल देन द एविडेंस प्रोड्यूस्ड बाय द कंपनी. So if the evidence is obtained from outside the company, then it becomes more qualitative. It is not to say that internal audit evidence is not qualitative. No, it is not so. The question is only of degree. And you have also to understand that most of the audit evidence which auditor obtains during the course of his audit is internal in nature. It is produced internally. Like all accounting records, all sale bills, all stock records. So say all debit notes issued by the company, all credit notes issued by the company, these are all internal audit evidence. So students, you get the basic meaning of relevance, reliability, sufficiency, and appropriateness. Now we go to your module to see in detail what is written there. Yes, we are at page 4.8 of your module. Page 4.8 of your module. So the quality of audit evidence, students, is affected by relevance and reliability of information upon which it is based. So relevance and reliability, what is relevance? Relevance deals with logical connection. Relevance deals with logical connection or bearing upon the purpose of audit procedure and where appropriate the assertion under consideration. So this is what I was telling you, that relevance, that the audit evidence should be relevant in relation to the assertion being tested. जो भी ऑडिटर प्रोसीजर लगा रहा है, जो भी ऑडिटर प्रोसीजर एडॉप्ट कर रहा है, तो वो प्रोसीजर, जो चीज वो वेरीफाई करना चाह रहा है, जो चीज वो टेस्ट करना चाह रहा है, उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में रेलिवेंट होना चाहिए. सो दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ रेलिवेंस. सो रेलिवेंस डील्स विद द लॉजिकल कनेक्शन with the purpose of audit procedure and the assertion being tested. So this you have to remember. Like example is given, for example, inspection of documents related to collection of receivables after period end may provide audit evidence regarding existence and valuation, but not necessarily cut off. Similarly, obtaining audit evidence regarding a particular assertion, for example, existence of inventory, is not a substitute for obtaining audit evidence for the valuation of inventory. So when the auditor is attending physical inventory count, he is employing a procedure to test the existence of inventory. He is inspecting the inventory to know about the existence and condition of the inventory, but he doesn't get anything about the valuation of inventory by simply attending the inventory count process. Okay, so therefore audit evidence should be relevant to the assertion being tested. जो चीज आप टेस्ट करना मांग रहे हो, उससे उसका कोई कनेक्शन होना चाहिए. अब वैल्यूएशन का कनेक्शन कोई, अगर कोई मैं आइटम फिजिकली उसको देख रहा हूं, तो उसका क्या उसकी वैल्यूएशन प्रॉपर है, मेरे को थोड़ा पता चलेगा उससे कि ये आइटम 500 रुपए की है. उसके लिए तो मेरे को उसकी कॉस्टिंग देखनी पड़ेगी, मेरे को उसका देखना पड़ेगा कि उसने वैल्यू कैसे किया. या अगर कोई मैन्युफैक्चर्ड प्रोडक्ट है तो मेरे को देखना पड़ेगा, आई वुड हैव टू सी how it has been valued, what is its raw material cost, what are labor expenses, what other expenses have been incurred. If it is a traded product, then I would have to see the purchase cost. Okay, students. So you have to understand relevance in this context. So audit procedures, again, students, further audit procedures, this we have already read. These are of two types: tests of control and substantive procedures. This we have already read in chapter 3. So it is again repeated here. And reliability. So information to be used as audit evidence should be reliable. So how reliability is affected? Reliability is influenced by its source and its nature and the circumstances in which it is obtained. From where the information is coming. Like if the information is coming from a third party, it is more reliable. And its nature, what type of information it is, that also depends upon the, that also is a factor for reliability. And the circumstances in which it is obtained, like there may be some different conditions under which a evidence is obtained. So these are the factors which affect reliability. However, students, as I have been telling you, that we cannot make generalizations. We can't make generalizations about reliability. Like, what is generalization? That we say that audit evidence obtained from an external source is always reliable. No, there are exceptions to it. It may not be so reliable if the source from which the information is coming is not knowledgeable. If he doesn't know what is the context of the request, and he doesn't know how to respond, he doesn't understand the significance of it. So therefore we can't make generalizations, but broadly we can say that external evidence is more reliable than internal evidence, but there can be exceptions to it. This you have to understand. There can be exceptions to it. It is not a sweeping general statement. Okay. So these are some of the factors regarding reliability of audit evidence. Like, the reliability of audit evidence is increased when it is obtained from independent sources outside the entity. So this we have been discussing now. The reliability of audit evidence which is generated internally is increased when controls function satisfactorily. So this I have told you just now, that when the controls function satisfactorily, control risk is low, then reliability of audit evidence which is generated internally, it increases. The auditor can place more reliance. He can trust such evidence more when control functions are operating satisfactorily, when control risk is low. Audit evidence obtained directly by the auditor is more reliable than audit evidence obtained indirectly. Say, what does this mean, students? Say, if the auditor is seeing some process, he is observing some process, then then the audit evidence is being obtained by him directly. However, if he inquires about that process from somebody, from some employee of the company, then he is getting indirect information. So obviously, seeing something firsthand is always better than seeking information from some person. So again, this doesn't mean that inquiry is of no value, that inquiry is of no use. It has got its own use, because because the auditor cannot obtain direct evidence in every respect. He can't see every process, and he can't obtain audit evidence in respect of all processes directly. So inquiry is also important. However, but when we compare both these, so we say that an audit evidence which is obtained by the auditor by seeing some process. Okay. So audit evidence obtained in documentary form is more important than audit evidence obtained orally or visually. So this basic thing, students, you understand. अगर अगर कोई एविडेंस डॉक्यूमेंट्री फॉर्म में है, बीट इन पेपर फॉर्म और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्म, देन इट इज मोर रिलायबल देन समथिंग which has been told to you verbally. So again, students, but this doesn't mean that verbal evidence, oral evidence or visual evidence has no value. But as far as reliability is concerned, we intend to place more reliance on audit evidence which is documentary in nature, because it is the hard proof. It can be shown later on. Okay. Like it is given here, like say if the auditor is going through the minutes of the meeting, minutes of the board meeting, then it is the evidence available with him that minutes have been documented and he is going through those minutes. So minute book is there and he is going through the minute book. So the evidence what happened at those meetings is there in the minute book. And now compare it with another type of evidence where some employee of the company tells the auditor that what happened at the meeting. So it is an oral audit evidence. Now what happened at the meeting, it is subject to different interpretations. The employee may not tell you all the things, or he may add something on his own, or he may delete some information, or he may modify some information. So but when you see the minute book, then it is an example of documentary evidence. It is in documented form. So audit evidence obtained as original documents is more reliable than audit evidence obtained from photocopies. So always this is a common sense point of thing, that always a paper which is original, it has got more evidentiary value. So if you have gone for some interview, then obviously the employers may be asking for original papers. They may be asking for your original mark sheets, original class 10 certificate, original class 12 certificate. Why? Because these can't be tempered. These are original documents. However, when when one relies on photocopies or other things, such things, then there is a possibility. It is not that these are not reliable, but we are again talking about the possibilities. So these are the factors about the reliability of audit evidence. These are the things which you have to keep in your mind while understanding the concept of reliability. Yes. So now we come to sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So what is sufficient appropriate audit evidence? So students, sufficiency is related to the quantity of audit evidence. Quantity, kitna audit evidence. So it is again dependent upon auditor's assessment of risk. So if the auditor has assessed risk to be high, obviously he would need more evidence. If he has assessed risk to be low, then he would be needing lesser audit evidence. His area of checking would be narrowed. His area of checking would be decreased. However, if he has assessed the risk of material misstatement to be high, then his area would be increased, and in consequence, in effect, the quantity of audit evidence on which he is placing comfort, that is also likely to be increased. Okay. And what is appropriateness of audit evidence? Appropriateness means it is a measure of quality of audit evidence. So quality किस चीज से इफेक्ट होती है स्टूडेंट्स? Quality is affected by relevance and reliability. So the audit evidence should be reliable also, it should be relevant also. When it is relevant and when it is reliable, we say it is of high quality. We say it is qualitative. Because why it is so? Because it helps the auditor then in arriving at conclusions on the basis of which he ultimately forms his opinion. So what is relevance? What is reliability? This we have got to know just few minutes back. So therefore, remember that sufficiency is a measure of quantity of audit evidence. Always remember that sufficiency is a measure of quantity of audit evidence, whereas appropriateness is a measure of quality of audit evidence. So that is the difference between these two things. Sufficiency is related to quantity and appropriateness is related to quality. Okay, guys. And what is quality? Quality is affected by relevance and reliability. So the evidence the auditor is obtaining, it should not only be reliable, but it should also be relevant to what is being tested. जो चीज टेस्ट हो रही है उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में वो ऑडिट एविडेंस रेलिवेंट भी होना चाहिए, तभी तो वो चीज प्रॉपरली टेस्ट हो पाएगी. अगर वो इंफॉर्मेशन रेलिवेंट ही नहीं है, then how it is going to be of high quality, then how it is going to be of qualitative nature? It can't be. So So appropriateness is measure of quality of audit evidence. These both terms, students, are very important, and from exam point of view also, these terms are very important. Many times questions have been coming from sufficiency and appropriateness. 2 mark correct incorrect type is also coming, and MCQs are also coming. Okay. So students, we have read in chapter 1 that auditor performs his audit procedures to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So therefore, the evidence he obtains should be sufficient, appropriate. And you understand that auditor does not obtain a conclusive evidence. Sufficient, appropriate audit evidence is not a conclusive evidence. But it is convincing evidence. It is persuasive evidence. So these terms, students, you have to get understanding of these terms, that an auditor obtains sufficient appropriate audit evidence. By sufficient appropriate audit evidence, we mean that evidence should be sufficient, it should be of such quantity which is needed, and it should be qualitative. So qualitativeness relates to relevance and reliability of audit evidence. So students, when the auditor performs his work, he obtains sufficient appropriate audit evidence. He does not obtain a conclusive evidence. कंक्लूसिव एविडेंस मींस जिससे ऊपर कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता, फाइनल जो किसी चीज को प्रूव कर दे, दैट इज कंक्लूसिव एविडेंस. बट द ऑडिटर डज नॉट ऑब्टेन कंक्लूसिव एविडेंस, ही ऑब्टेन्स सफिशिएंट एप्रोप्रिएट ऑडिट एविडेंस. सो कई बार स्टूडेंट्स एग्जाम में आउट, अगर किसी ने अच्छी तरह से नहीं पढ़ा तो वो कहेंगे कंक्लूसिव ही ऑडिट एविडेंस ऑडिटर तो लेता है, लेकिन नहीं, ऑडिटर कंक्लूसिव ऑडिट एविडेंस नहीं लेता, क्योंकि कंक्लूसिव का मतलब है कि वो उस चीज की गारंटी दे रहा है कि ये इससे ऊपर कोई एविडेंस नहीं है, इट इज 100% ओके. जबकि हमने चैप्टर 1 में पढ़ा था दैट ऑडिटर डजंट गिव ए गारंटी, ही ओनली गिव्स ए रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस. ओके, सो दिस स्टूडेंट्स you have to understand. So audit evidence is necessary to support auditor's opinion and report. तो उसके बिना तो कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता. Nothing can happen without audit evidence. So when the auditor is performing his work, what he is doing the most of the time, he is obtaining audit evidence. How does he obtain audit evidence? He obtains audit evidence by performing procedures. Okay. So students, you have also to remember that even an absence of information also constitutes audit evidence. So this is also very important. Say how it can constitute audit evidence. Say you as an auditor have written a mail to the CFO of the company to give you some information, but the CFO of the company doesn't reply to your mail, or he expresses his inability to provide you that information. Then that response or the fact of non-responding to your mail also constitutes audit evidence. It shows why it constitutes audit evidence. it shows that you sent a mail and the CFO didn't respond, there was no response, or when he expresses his inability to give information to you, then an evidence is created, an evidence is obtained which shows that you performed the procedure to obtain audit evidence. Whether you get something or not, that is a different issue, but you did the right thing, you employed the procedure, and you sent a mail, and the other party from whom information was required, he has not responded, or he has expressed his inability to respond. So this in itself, it also constitute audit evidence. Clear, students? So sufficiency of audit evidence, students, can be affected by materiality, risk of material misstatement, and size of population. Materiality, you are quite familiar. We have read it in chapter 3. Okay, so if a transaction is more material, it is of significant use to the users, then more evidence would be required. And if a transaction is of less significance to user, then less evidence would be required. So if the transaction is less material, then less evidence would be required. And if the transaction is more material, then more evidence would be required. So simple as it is. So less evidence would be required in case assertions are less material to users of financial statements. But on the other hand, if assertions are more material to users of financial statements, more evidence would be required. Perfectly logical. तो स्टूडेंट्स, लॉजिकल बात है ना, अगर कोई चीज ज्यादा मटेरियल है तो उसके लिए ज्यादा एविडेंस चाहिए, और अगर कोई कम मटेरियल है तो उसके लिए कम एविडेंस चाहिए. रिस्क ऑफ मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट, this we have already touched earlier also. अगर risk of material misstatement, if it is more, if the chances of financial statements, if the chances that financial statements are materially misstated are more, then obviously the auditor would be needing more audit evidence. But if the risk of material misstatement is low, that means that chances of material misstatements happening in financial statements is low, then less evidence would be required. So same thing is written here. So these are general things, students. And suppose you are testing some account which contains a similar number of items, say. Okay, so then obviously less evidence would be required. Or if that head of account contains different heterogeneous population, homogeneous and heterogeneous, you understand? Homogeneous means similar and heterogeneous means different. Like, say, I give you an example. Say you are going through machinery repair account. Now, machinery repair account could contain the service bills which are purely of service nature. That company is making some payments for AMCs given to other parties for maintenance of machinery and all that stuff. And it also contains some purchase of machinery parts which are using in the regular repair and maintenance of the machinery. So obviously, and there are some bills which there are some items, some expenditure booked under this head which contained both these things. So obviously your area, so it is an example of heterogeneous population कि एक हेड के अंदर कई कई डिफरेंट टाइप की आइटम्स हैं, कई डिफरेंट नेचर की एंट्रीज हैं, कई डिफरेंट नेचर की इंफॉर्मेशन है. सो ऑब्वियसली you would be needing more evidence. You would be picking up more samples from different nature. So quantity of audit evidence would be increased. However, if there are items under one head of a similar nature, like एक ही टाइप की परचेज की एंट्रीज हैं, so then we call it as a homogeneous population. So homogeneous means which is similar. तो एक ही आइटम की परचेज हो रही है, so obviously it would be easier for you to select a sample because all the items are of similar nature. So you can select a sample, a smaller sample that can also serve the purpose. So clear, guys? So these are the factors, students, which affect the sufficiency of audit evidence. So what are these factors? These are materiality, number one. Number two, these are risk of material misstatement. Number three, size and characteristics of the population. So these three factors you have to remember. Now, audit procedures for obtaining audit evidence. Now, this topic, students, this is also very important from your examination point of view. Now, students, we have been saying from the very beginning कि auditor audit procedures perform करता है. That auditor performs audit procedures to obtain audit evidence. Now, what are those procedures? What are different type of audit procedures? So these are 7 different type of audit procedures which the auditor performs. Now again, these can be tests of controls, these can be substantive procedures, these can be risk assessment procedures. So first we shall understand what is the meaning of all these things. So we'll go one by one. So what is inspection, students? What is inspection? Yes. So inspection means when you see some document, when you go through some document, or you examine some asset. Say you go to the plant of the company, so it is an inspection. You are reading last year financial statements of a company, it is an inspection. You are reading minute books of a company, it is an example of inspection. You are going through the internal control documents of the company, internal control manuals of the company, it is an example of inspection. So clear, students, what we mean by inspection? So inspection involves examining records or documents, whether internal or external, in paper form, electronic form, or other media, or a physical examination of an asset. So what does inspection means? Inspection means examining records or documents or physical examination of an asset. Now records may be whatever kind of record these may be. These may be internally generated. These may have come from external sources. These may be in digitized form. These may be in electronic form, or when you physically see an asset, physically examine an asset. Okay, so it is an example of, it is the meaning of inspection. Okay, so like you are seeing an FD. So there are investments in the books of organization, in the books of the entity, and you ask the entity to show me the fixed deposits, or to show me the uh, proof of other investments. So that is an example. So what document you are seeing, that is an example of inspection. Okay, like say when an auditor attends physical inventory count. So what are inventories? What are inventories, guys? Inventories are assets. It is a current asset. So when auditor goes to to attend the physical inventory count of a company, he is inspecting the assets. So it is again an example of inspection. So inspection, remember students, it consists of two things: examining records or documents and examination of a physical asset. So inspection consists of two parts: examining records or documents, or examining a physical asset, or examination of a physical examination of an asset. So it is known as inspection. Now what is observation? Now observation means looking at some process which is being performed by others. Looking at some process being performed by others. So say we take the example, we carry forward the example of the inventory count. Say when the auditor is attending the inventory count and say he is seeing the inventory, then he is inspecting. But say he is observing, he is seeing at, he is looking at how employees of the companies are counting the inventories, how the inventories are stored, how the inventories are stacked, and what the process employees of the company are adopting to count the inventories or to physically verifying the inventories. Whether they are weighing, whether they are counting the number of boxes, what is the procedure they are adopting. So he is looking at those processes. He is seeing how they are performing the things. So this is known as observing. This is known as observation. To observe something. So when you observe something, when you look at some process or procedure being performed by others, it is known as observation. So what is the difference between these two? So what is the difference between these two? So inspection means just the auditor doesn't see a process happening. He just goes through the documents on his own, or he examines an asset. But observation means looking at something, looking at some process carried on by others. Okay, so this is called as observation. And another important thing is, students, that observation provides audit evidence about the performance of a process or procedure, but is limited to the point in time at which observation takes place, and by the fact that act of being observed may affect how the process or procedure is performed. So observation, students, you have to remember that it provides evidence at that very point of time at which you are observing. Say you are observing, you are looking at some process, and that process has happened, that process is happening properly in front of you, in front of your eyes. So it is providing you evidence at that point of time. Now, whether that process has happened so in past, this cannot be provided by observation. Why? Because observation, by its very meaning, by its very definition, it means the process of looking at the things being done by others. Okay, guys. So you understand the difference between observation and inspection. So the case I was telling you, suppose you are looking at the process. So obviously you are getting evidence only at that point of time, only at that moment. Now, whether that thing has happened in past or not, this you would be obtaining evidence by inspecting, by seeing whether management has documented, whether management has got some record, whether company has got some record that such process was carried effectively or in past during previous dates also. That you would be getting by inspection, by inspecting. Okay. Yes. Now, third is external confirmation. Now, students, external confirmation, again, we have been saying about external confirmation. We have used many times the word external confirmation. So, external confirmation represents audit evidence obtained by the auditor as a direct written response to the auditor from a third party in paper form, electronic form, or other medium. So, external confirmation is the final response which the auditor gets by sending an external confirmation request. तो मेरे को डेटर का बैलेंस वेरीफाई करना है, तो मैं एक्सटर्नल कंफर्मेशन रिक्वेस्ट भेजूंगा, और जो उसका रिस्पॉन्स आएगा उस रिक्वेस्ट का, that is evidence, that is the written response which is coming, that is external confirmation. The balance stands externally confirmed. So external, and these can be external confirmation requests can be sent to third parties, not only in paper form or by it can be sent electronically also by mail or any other form. It is not necessary that you have to send a speed post letter. It is not necessary. You can ask for the confirmation on mails in electronic way also, in electronic manner also. So external confirmation request procedures are relevant when addressing assertions associated with certain account balances and their elements. So external confirmation procedures generally कहाँ अप्लाई करते हैं? In case of account balances, like in case of trade receivables, like in case of trade payables. But it is not necessary that these are restricted to account balances also. The auditor can send external confirmation requests for verifying the contents of some agreement also. It is not an account balance. But the auditor can choose. अगर मैनेजमेंट आपको कोई एग्रीमेंट दिखाती है, कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दिखाती है, and you choose to verify whether this is the original contract which was entered into by the company with a third party. So you can send a confirmation request to a third party for confirming that whether this is the original contract, whether this is the original agreement. So therefore, external confirmation requests are not restricted to account balances only. These are not restricted to account balances only. Okay. So external confirmation procedures are used to obtain audit evidence absence of certain conditions. तो एक एग्जांपल दिया हुआ है स्टूडेंट्स, द एग्जांपल ऑफ ए साइड एग्रीमेंट. से व्हाट इज ए साइड एग्रीमेंट गाइस? से मैनेजमेंट का अपने कुछ कस्टमर्स के साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है. देयर इज ए कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट with some customers under which the management, the company is providing goods to the customers. से उसका कस्टमर्स के साथ आपने डिफरेंट, उसके 10 कस्टमर हैं, 10 कस्टमर के साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है. अब ऑडिटर इस चीज को वेरीफाई करना चाहता है कि कोई और सेपरेट एग्रीमेंट तो उन्हें एंटर नहीं किया हुआ जिसमें कुछ कंडीशंस और हैं, और मैनेजमेंट इज and the management is misleading him. So because such thing may have impact on how sales are being recognized, how revenue is being recognized in financial statements. So therefore you have to understand that external confirmation requests are not confined. These are not restricted to account balances alone. Okay. Another thing is recalculation. Now what is recalculation? Recalculation means simply verifying arithmetical accuracy. कि आपके सामने कोई बिल है, आपने उसकी कैलकुलेशन चेक की, दोबारा कैलकुलेशन चेक की, टोटलिंग ठीक है, मल्टीप्लिकेशन ठीक है, क्वांटिटी रेट को करके जो वैल्यू निकाली गई है वो ठीक है. So that is mean checking mathematical accuracy. So it may be performed manually. You may do it on a calculator or electronically. Okay, there may be tools available with you. And another is reperformance. What is reperformance, guys? Reperformance means that a procedure is again performed by the auditor. Say the management had devised a control and to be performed by employee of company, and the auditor again does the same thing. He reperforms it to gain satisfaction. It is called as reperformance. So it is not the same thing as recalculation. Recalculation is a very narrow term. It is just restricted to checking mathematical accuracy. Totaling ठीक है, multiplication ठीक है, these sort of things. But reperformance is a broader thing. It is a broader term. So it involves independent executions of procedures which were devised by the management as part of control. Like say, management has devised a control that accountant of the company will perform BRS, bank reconciliation statement, every month. Okay, so accountant is also preparing. I have given this example in past too. But the auditor again, he again makes his own bank reconciliation statement, and he tries to tally the results of both these. So what he is doing, he is reperforming. So similarly, students, जैसे like in schedule 3, there is a requirement for aging of trade payables and trade receivables. तो मैनेजमेंट ने कहा हुआ है अकाउंटेंट को कि भैया ये जो आप फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स बनेंगी उसमें आप एजिंग शेड्यूल भी बनाओगे. सो इट इज ए कंट्रोल डिवाइस बाय द मैनेजमेंट. सो एजिंग शेड्यूल, मान लीजिए ये भी प्रैक्टिस है कंपनी में कि वो हर क्वार्टर में एजिंग शेड्यूल बनाते हैं. आपने ट्रेड रिसीवेबल्स और क्रेडिटर्स का कितनी आउटस्टैंडिंग पेमेंट है, कितने टाइम से, कोई ज्यादा आउटस्टैंडिंग पेमेंट तो नहीं है, कस्टमर देर से पेमेंट तो नहीं कर रहे. सो वो एजिंग शेड्यूल बनाते हैं. दिस वी कॉल एज एजिंग शेड्यूल. सो दिस शेड्यूल इज ऑल्सो बीइंग प्रिपेयर्ड by the employees, by the accountant of the company. Now the auditor prepares aging schedule on his own at a particular date. Say as on a particular date, as on 31st March, the auditor prepares aging schedule on his own and then sees whether the aging schedule prepared by him is in agreement with the aging schedule prepared by the accountant. So what he is doing, he is reperforming. He is again performing the procedures which were intended as part of management's control system. Okay, students. So analytical procedures. Another thing is when you apply some procedures, when you analyze the information by making relationships between the financial data and non-financial data. Students, इसके बारे में एक सेपरेट ऐसे है, ऐसे 520. वो इसी चैप्टर में है जिसमें हम डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे कि एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स क्या होते हैं. इसलिए आप फॉर द टाइम बीइंग यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दिस मच. लाइक से आप पिछले द कंपनी इज द ऑडिटर इज एनालाइजिंग gross profit ratio trends of last 3 years. So what he is doing, he is performing analytical procedures. He is analyzing past years financial information to see whether there is unusual fluctuation in the gross profit ratio of the current year as compared to last year's. So these are the kinds of analytical procedures. Okay, and not the least, last is inquiry. Inquiry, you already understand, to inquire from somebody, to seek information from somebody, to seek information from other persons within the entity or outside the entity, within the company or outside the company. And inquiry, as I've been telling you, that inquiry involves the least cost, but it also provides least audit evidence. So from the auditor's point of view, it is very cost effective, but it provides the least audit evidence. It has to be coupled with other things. So inquiries can be oral, it can be written. So all these are inquiries. So when you informally discuss something within the company, with the staff of the company or with the employees of the company, that is also an inquiry. And what you get in back, what are the responses to your inquiries, that is also part of the inquiry process. That is also part of the inquiry process. So clear, guys? All the procedures are clear to you. Again, see their name, guys. So you have to keep in your mind this chart and remember the names and meaning of all these procedures. So inspection, observation, external confirmation, recalculation, reperformance, analytical procedure and inquiry. Yes, students. अब स्टूडेंट्स अगला टॉपिक शुरू करने से पहले थोड़ा आपकी क्वेरीज ले लेते हैं. Let us see what are your queries. Yes, Swati, you are saying sufficient means quantitative and appropriate means qualitative. Yes, that's true, Swati. Yes, Srinivasan, positive assertions. So what you are probably talking about the topic of assertions, you are saying there is no example in study material. So whatever example in study material is given, Srinivasan, I will explain it from there. So I am taking that plant example. Yes. So this was what we had read yesterday, day before yesterday. So positive assertion. So the firm owns the plant and machinery. So it is a positive assertion. There is nothing negative about it. The plant and machinery physically exists. It is also a positive assertion. So all these are positive assertions. The historical cost of plant and machinery is 2 lakhs. It is expressly stated. So it is explicit assertion, explicit and also positive. These are implied assertions because it is nowhere expressly stated that plant and machinery physically exists. So it is a implied assertion. The asset is being used in the business of the company productively. It is also positive assertion and also implied assertion. Positive implied assertion. So this way you have to understand. So I hope Srinivasan, it is clear to you. Yes. Now Rohan Kumar, suitable like external confirmation. Yes, Rohan. Gunjan Devi, relevance once in Hindi. गुंजन देवी रेलिवेंस का मतलब है कि जो भी आप प्रोसीजर लगा रहे हैं एज एन ऑडिटर, जो भी आप प्रोसीजर परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं वो उस एसर्शन के लिए रेलिवेंट होना चाहिए जो कि आप टेस्ट करना चाहते हैं। से मैं ऑकरेंस एसर्शन टेस्ट करना चाहता हूं तो जो प्रोसीजर मैं उसके लिए लगा रहा हूं, जो ऑडिट एविडेंस मेरे को उससे मिलने वाला है, वो अकरेंस के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में रेलिवेंस होना चाहिए ताकि मेरे को उस बारे में एविडेंस मिले कि अकरेंस एसर्शन जो मैं टेस्ट करना चाहता हूं कि क्या वो ट्रांजैक्शन हुई या ना हुई। मैं टेस्ट तो कुछ और करना चाहता हूं और प्रोसीजर कोई और बना रहा हूं, तो वो इररेलिवेंट होगा। तो जो मैं टेस्ट करना चाहता हूं वो ही प्रोसीजर बनाऊं, उसका ही एविडेंस मिले मेरे को, ये इसका मतलब है रेलिवेंस का। And students, once more, one more thing I will like to tell you that your Hindi module, Hindi version is now also available online. So students, those of you who have opted for Hindi medium, so you can go from you can go to the website and you can study from your module because it is a pan India lecture and we can't give the complete lecture in Hindi. So it consists of students from all regions. So if you are finding it difficult to understand in English, so it's better you go through your module in Hindi and try to correlate whatever you can understand. So these lectures are mainly in English. This you have to understand. We are trying to explain to you in Hindi as far as it is possible. But to give the complete lecture in Hindi is not possible. It is not permitted. Yes, Vaishali Bindal, रेलिवेंस और रिलायबिलिटी का डिफरेंस मैंने आपको पहले ही बता दिया है। शॉर्ट नोट्स देवराज, दिस पहले आप याद तो कर लीजिए, आप नोट्स पे भागते हैं। पहले आप समझ तो लीजिए, समझ के आप खुद लिखिए। राजीव सर ने बताया होगा आपको पिछली बार भी, शॉर्टकट मेथड सीए में नहीं चलेगा। आप सोचें कि हम 140 पेज के चैप्टर में 10 पेज पढ़ के चले जाएं और उसमें नंबर ले लें, कभी भी नहीं आएंगे। आप कोशिश कर लीजिए, नहीं आएंगे। आप अटेम्प्ट्स लगे रहिए, नहीं आएंगे। Yes, Devinder Singh, what is meant by facsimile? Yes, facsimile just mean copies. Facsimile means copies. Yes, Srinivasan, if management is not providing information, how relevance and reliability of audit of financial statement is? Yes, if management is not providing information, then obviously it would have impact upon the auditor's opinion. It is a limitation on the scope of audit itself. If the management is not providing information, then it is a limitation on the scope of audit. So auditor would have to see, then management is not cooperating and it is not providing information. It means that his audit has been restricted and it acts as a limitation on scope of his engagement. And there are you would be reading later in part of your modules, then if such thing happens, then what auditor should do. Yes. Parth Rana, inspection can be done in respect of asset as well as any document which we see is also an inspection. So it relates to documents also and inspection also. Yes, Devraj. Yes, you are correct. Now, Sonali Priya, there are no Hindi medium classes being conducted by ICAI. No, there are no Hindi medium classes. And for your information, those students who have opted for Hindi medium, they can see these modules in Hindi language. The same is now available on website. Now, Rahul Patel, yes, external confirmation requests have to be in written form. So you understand the meaning of external confirmation request. It has to be in written form, either in paper form or electronically. It can't be oral. Yes, Sarvanshu, chapters are related to each other. That is why we call audit is a logical process. You can't see the things in isolation. कि भैया आप सोचे कि मैं 10 में से एग्जाम में कोई 3 चैप्टर करके चला जाऊं, आप पास नहीं होंगे स्टूडेंट्स। आपके 10-15 नंबर आएंगे पेपर में, 100 में से 10-15 नंबर आएंगे। कुछ लोग सोचते हैं ना कि चलो 4 चैप्टर छोड़ दो, ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये कर लो। पहले पूरा सिलेबस तो कीजिए। आपको अगर सब्जेक्ट की अंडरस्टैंडिंग ही नहीं है तो आप कैसे कर पाएंगे? आप नहीं कर पाएंगे। आप सिर्फ शॉर्टकट चाहते हैं, वो नहीं होगा स्टूडेंट्स। you would not get results. Yes, test of control is also an audit procedure. Yes, Manoj, you are right. Yes, Rahul Patel. Yes, Nancy, Rajiv sir may be joining today. So some queries are left, 4-5 queries. We'll take a short break of 2-3 minutes, guys, and we'll come back. So short break of 2-3 minutes, guys. Yes, welcome back, guys. So, guys, I hope you have understood the meaning and distinction of all the procedures. So, 7 type of procedures we have done. So, I am again taking the names of procedures. So, inspection, observation, external confirmation, recalculation, reperformance, and inquiry and analytical procedures. Okay, so probably all 7 names I have taken. So students, yes, what what were your remaining queries? Yes, Rahul Patel, how physical examination of asset is different from observation? Already told in detail, Rahul. Observation is restricted to the to seeing what thing is being performed by somebody else. So when you physically see an asset, you do not see somebody doing a thing. When you physically examine an asset, when you physically see a box containing shirts, there is nobody who you are seeing doing some activity. But in the same scenario, if you see the employees of the company counting the number of boxes containing shirts, you see a supervisor who is directing the company employees to count in such manner in accordance with a certain procedure, with a certain method. Then you are observing, you are seeing how that person is conducting his activities. So that is the difference between examination of an asset and observation. Yes, Rahul Patel, is it clear to you? Yes, Rahul, hope it should be clear to you. And Kadambari, why should auditor verify physical inventory? But it is beyond the how you are saying that, Kadambari? No, it is not beyond the scope of physical. It is not the beyond the scope of audit. In fact, it forms very part of the process of obtaining audit evidence. So, essay 501 में we shall be studying how an auditor obtains audit evidence while attending physical inventory count. So there is a part of an essay devoted to it. How you can say, because inventories are normally material items in financial statements. So the auditor has to obtain audit evidence about whether the inventories exist and what is their condition. Okay. So it is not beyond the scope. It is very much rather one of the main parts of gathering audit evidence. Yes. आलोक मिश्रा, प्लीज क्लियर अबाउट पॉपुलेशन इन साइज. पॉपुलेशन का मीनिंग है जैसे आपके पास 1000 अकाउंट हैं ट्रेड रिसीवेबल के डेटर में से, डेटर के, तो आप अगर 100 अकाउंट चेक कर रहे हैं तो वो एक साइज है, आप 200 अकाउंट चेक कर रहे हैं तो वो उससे बड़ा साइज है, आप 50 अकाउंट चेक कर रहे हैं तो वो छोटा साइज है. कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ पॉपुलेशन का मतलब है कि उसमें जो आइटम्स हैं जो उस पॉपुलेशन को बना रही हैं वो एक जैसी हैं या कैसी हैं या अलग अलग हैं, किस टाइप से हैं. यस. ऑब्जर्वेशन, यस स्वाति, यस. यस, यू आर राइट स्वाति. So these things, Nancy, you will be reading about in chapter on audit report. Priyanka, you are saying 7 methods optional while conducting an audit procedure optional. No, these are the very much procedures which are available to the auditor. इसके अलावा थोड़ा कोई प्रोसीजर्स हैं, यही काम करता है ऑडिटर। या तो वो इंस्पेक्ट करेगा, या ऑब्जर्व करेगा, एक्सटर्नल कंफर्मेशन रिक्वेस्ट भेजेगा, एनालिसिस करेगा, इंक्वायरी करेगा, रीपरफॉर्म करेगा या रिकैलकुलेट करेगा। जहां तक क्वेश्चंस का क्वेश्चन है उसके बारे में स्टूडेंट्स डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन कैसे आंसर करने हैं वो हम आपको बताएंगे। यस सर। हेलो,
गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
यस सर, राजीव सर इज विद अस, so he would like to talk with you for few minutes, so you can raise your concerns with him if you want. Any of your concerns you can raise with him.
Yes, good morning sir, and good morning all of you students. स्टूडेंट्स, मैं होप करता हूं कि आपने जो मैंने होमवर्क दिया था वो कर लिया होगा और आपकी तैयारी ठीक डायरेक्शन में चल रही होगी। स्टूडेंट्स, डे 1 जब मैं आया था, जब मैंने आपको समझाया था कि क्लासेस का ऑब्जेक्टिव बताया था कि आप एक तो नॉलेज बिल्डअप करोगे, आपका नॉलेज बिल्डअप बिकॉज यू आर गोइंग टू बी ए प्रोफेशनल चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट। तो नॉलेज बिल्डअप एक पार्ट होता है, दूसरा पार्ट होता है एग्जाम में लिखने के काबिल बनाना, क्योंकि एग्जामिनर आपका वो चेक करेगा जो आप वहां पे लिखोगे। आपका नॉलेज बिल्डअप कितना भी होगा, एग्जाम में आप नहीं लिख पाते तो आपकी जो तैयारी है, जो आपने काम किया है, जो नॉलेज बिल्डअप हो गया आपका, मार्क्स में कन्वर्ट नहीं हो पाता। ये मैंने आपको अच्छे से समझाया था। तैयारी करने की डायरेक्शन में प्रेपरेशन कैसे करें, उस डायरेक्शन में मैंने आपको 2 पॉइंट्स बताए थे। एक तो स्टूडेंट्स, स्टडीज के साथ जल्दीबाजी मत करें, नेवर बी इन हरी टू स्टडी। आप जितना स्लो पढ़ेंगे, जितना आप पेशेंस से काम करेंगे, उतना जल्दी डाइजेशन होने वाला है। तो उतने उसकी इस्टेब्लिश्ड चीजें आपके माइंड में जल्दी हो जाती हैं। अगर आप स्लो करेंगे तो जल्दी इस्टेब्लिश होंगी, और आप तेजी से अगर निकालेंगे तो फिर आपकी स्लो, उल्टा इनवर्स रिलेशनशिप होता है। तो आप आराम से पढ़ें। मैं देखता हूं आजकल स्टूडेंट्स बड़ी हरी में होते हैं कि फटाफट से हो जाए, शॉर्ट नोट बना के हो जाए सारा काम, बस हमें कुछ करना ना पड़े, फटाफट से हमें। तो वो अगर आप शॉर्टकट्स बनाते हैं स्टूडेंट्स, तो फिर आपको जो डाइजेशन है, जो आपके माइंड में चीजें रहने वाली हैं, वो लंबे समय तक नहीं रहेंगी और वो मार्क्स में भी कन्वर्ट नहीं हो पाएंगी फाइनली। तो इसलिए जल्दीबाजी ना करें। स्टडी मॉड्यूल जो हैं वो परफेक्टली रिटन है स्टूडेंट्स, और आप उनको एक एक वर्ड स्टडी मटेरियल का इंपॉर्टेंट है, आप उसको पढ़ें अच्छी तरह से। शुरू करूंगा लिंकेज मेथड। एक तो स्लो लर्निंग करनी है आपने, स्लो अंडरस्टैंडिंग करनी है, और दूसरा लिंकेज मेथड बनाना है। जैसे ऑडिट एविडेंस की डेफिनेशन आपको सर ने समझाई थी क्या होती है, लिंकेज मेथड का एग्जांपल बहुत अच्छा इसमें आता है। ऑडिट एविडेंस क्या होता है स्टूडेंट्स, अभी आप इस लेक्चर के अंदर ऑडिट एविडेंस एविडेंस ही चल रहा है। अभी रेलेवेंस सर ने आज कराया, और रिलायबिलिटी भी कराया आपको। अदर्शंस पहले सर ने आपको समझाया था बहुत डिटेल में। तो स्टूडेंट्स, ये जो चैप्टर है फुल ऑफ डेफिनेशंस है, और डेफिनेशंस पार्ट में जो ये एबीसी ऑफ ऑडिटिंग आपकी जो है, एक बैकग्राउंड आपका तैयार कर देता है, बैकअप तैयार कर देता है सीए फाइनल लेवल तक के लिए, मैं आपको बता रहा हूं। तो इसलिए स्टूडेंट्स, इन चीजों को लाइटली ना लेना। जो मैं आपको तरीके बता रहा हूँ वो टाइम टेस्टेड टेक्निक्स हैं, वो आपको लंबे समय तक आपका साथ देंगी। आपको एग्जाम में एबीसी की तरह चीजें अगर ध्यान होंगी तो फिर आपके जो तैयारी है उसको मार्क्स में कन्वर्ट करने से कोई नहीं रोक पाएगा। तो स्टूडेंट्स, अब देर किस चीज की है? देर है आपके इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करने की। जो स्टूडेंट्स ऑलरेडी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कर रहे हैं तो मैं उनको अपने कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स देता हूं, और मैं ये भी उम्मीद रखता हूं कि उनकी तैयारी बहुत अच्छी चल रही होगी। और जिन्होंने अभी तक भी नहीं किया, अभी भी कुछ नहीं बिगड़ा है स्टूडेंट्स, अभी भी आप शुरू कर सकते हैं। अभी मेरे कुछ कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ने, काफी स्टूडेंट्स ने मुझे शेड्यूल रजिस्टर के बारे में कोई रिपोर्ट नहीं दी। कुछ इक्का दुक्का स्टूडेंट्स ने कोई व्हाट्सएप मैसेज भेजा हो तो मैं नहीं कह सकता, लेकिन मैं एक और स्टूडेंट्स आपको एडवाइस करूंगा कि जब भी आप मुझे व्हाट्सएप करें, खाली व्हाट्सएप ना करें, उसके बाद कॉल जरूर करें, बिकॉज व्हाट्सएप मैसेज मेरा मिस हो जाता है। तो कॉल लेकिन मैं मिस नहीं करता, या मैं कॉल बैक कर लेता हूँ। तो इसलिए जो स्टूडेंट्स ने व्हाट्सएप भी भेजा है, एक बार मुझे कॉल करके जरूर बता दिया करें। फोन नंबर्स, मोबाइल नंबर्स मैंने आपको अपने शेयर कर ही दिए हैं, तो इसलिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ये। मैं ऑडिट एविडेंस की डेफिनेशन में लिंकेज मेथड आपको बता रहा था। ऑडिट एविडेंस में बी डिफाइंड एज, इसमें इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड अगर आपको ध्यान में नहीं है, वो आपको अपने माइंड में बसा लेना है, दैट इज इंफॉर्मेशन। ऑडिट एविडेंस में बी डिफाइंड एज द इंफॉर्मेशन यूज्ड बाय द ऑडिटर। तो इंफॉर्मेशन यूज्ड बाय द ऑडिटर, अब आप लिंकेज बनाइए यहां पे, बस इतना याद कर लीजिए मेरे कहने पे। अगर आप इतना, ये तो कोई इतनी बड़ी बात नहीं है, आपको मेरे ख्याल 1 मिनट भी नहीं लगेगा इसको मन अपने अंदर बसाने के अंदर, कि ऑडिट एविडेंस में बी डिफाइंड एज द इंफॉर्मेशन यूज्ड बाय द ऑडिटर। अब आप यहां से लिंकेज बनाइए कि इंफॉर्मेशन यूज करके ऑडिटर को क्या मिलने वाला है। बस आप ये सोचो इसके बाद, इंफॉर्मेशन यूज करके ऑडिटर को क्या मिलने वाला है। ये स्टूडेंट्स आप इसको आप क्वेरी पर आंसर कर सकते हो, मैं आपके आंसर्स की वेट करूँ। इंफॉर्मेशन यूज करके, अभी स्टडी मॉड्यूल मत देखो आप अभी देखो, सर ने आपको इतना सारा समझाया, तो इंफॉर्मेशन यूज करके ऑडिटर को क्या मिलने वाला है आप ये सोचो। तो ये लिंकेज मेथड होता है। इससे क्या होगा, आपका एक तो स्लो लर्निंग है, और दूसरा आपकी लंबे टाइम तक रहेगी, और आपको बहुत ज्यादा एफर्ट नहीं लगाना पड़ता चीजों को दिमाग में रखने के लिए। तो ये सारी बातें स्टूडेंट्स, इंफॉर्मेशन यूज करके क्या मिलने वाला है। ये सर कोई आ रही है, रिप्लाईज आए?
नहीं सर, अभी तो नहीं।
ये स्टूडेंट्स आपके आंसर्स की मैं वेट कर रहा हूँ।
यस, दिव्या कुमारी सेइंग ऑडिट ओपिनियन, जगपति सेइंग कंक्लूजन।
हाँ, तो कंक्लूजन, ऑडिटर को इंफॉर्मेशन यूज करके कंक्लूजन पे कोई पहुंचने वाला है। और अगला अगला अगली बात इसमें ये इन अराइविंग एट द कंक्लूजन्स, इन अराइविंग एट द कंक्लूजन्स, इंफॉर्मेशन यूज्ड बाय द ऑडिटर इन अराइविंग एट द कंक्लूजन्स। और कंक्लूजन पे पहुंच के ऑडिटर अगर उसको कंक्लूजन्स पे अराइव हो जाता है, तो फिर उसको उसका क्या करेगा ऑडिटर। ये लिंकेज मेथड है। आपने ऐसे ही ऑडिटिंग अगर पढ़ोगे, आप स्टडी करोगे, पूरी ऑडिटिंग बिलीव मी ऐसे ही है। आप लिंकेज मेथड से करो और स्लोली करो, इससे चीजें लंबे समय तक आपके दिमाग में रहने वाली हैं, और आप फटाफट से आप देखोगे ऑडिटिंग आपको मुश्किल भी नहीं लगेगी, और इसके रिजल्ट्स भी बहुत अच्छे आएंगे। तो इंफॉर्मेशन यूज्ड, ऑडिट एविडेंस में बी डिफाइंड एज द इंफॉर्मेशन यूज्ड बाय द ऑडिटर इन अराइविंग एट द कंक्लूजन्स ऑन विच। अब आगे क्या है, इस कंक्लूजन्स के बेस पे मैं क्या करूंगा, फाइनल ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑडिटर का क्या होता है। ये सर आया कोई क्वेरी इसका आंसर?
यस सर, कंक्लूजन, कंक्लूजन में एक था कंक्लूजन्स।
कंक्लूजन्स के बेस पर ऑडिटर क्या करेगा,
यस,
कंक्लूजन जब उसे मिल।
ओपिनियन, स्टूडेंट लिख रहे हैं ओपिनियन।
वेरी गुड आंसर। ऑन विच द ऑडिटर्स ओपिनियन इज बेस्ड, ये डेफिनेशन आपकी देखो कंप्लीट हो गई। तो ऑडिट एविडेंस में बी डिफाइंड एज द इंफॉर्मेशन, ये इंफॉर्मेशन वर्ड आप बहुत यहां तक आपको करना है, इंफॉर्मेशन यूज्ड बाय द ऑडिटर, ये वर्ड्स बहुत की वर्ड्स हैं। इन अराइविंग एट द कंक्लूजन्स ऑन विच द ऑडिटर्स ओपिनियन इज बेस्ड। तो स्टूडेंट्स इससे क्या हो गया, आप डेफिनेशन पे थोड़ा टाइम आपने डिवोट किया, लेकिन वो फॉर एवर आपके दिमाग में रह जाएगी। और इसको फिर उसके बाद आप 5 टाइम्स रीड भी करना है आपको, और 3 दिन तक कम से कम, मैं आपको कह रहा हूं कि जो भी काम आप करो मिनिमम 3 डेज तक किया करो उसे। 5 टाइम्स रीडिंग फॉर कॉन्टिन्यूस 3 डेज, उससे चीजें आपके दिमाग में अच्छे लेवल पे स्टेब्लिश हो जाती हैं। फिर स्टूडेंट्स ये चैप्टर फुल ऑफ डेफिनेशंस है, जैसा कि मैं आपको बता रहा था कि आपका डेफिनेशंस, जैसे कि मेरे ख्याल से 10-15 डेज हो गए हैं मुझे आपको समझाते हुए भी, तो अभी तक होप करता हूं मैं कि आपकी 50 के आसपास डेफिनेशन तो हो ही गए होंगे, अगर मैं ज्यादा नहीं कह रहा तो स्टूडेंट्स आप क्वेरी बॉक्स में मुझे बता सकते हैं कि कितने डेफिनेशन स्टूडेंट्स के हो चुके हैं। आप अपने अलग अलग रिप्लाई दे सकते हो, चाहे किसी के 5-10 भी हो, तो मैं उसको अप्रिशिएट करूंगा, बिकॉज आप एटलीस्ट उस डायरेक्शन में काम तो करना शुरू कर दिया ना। इम्प्लीमेंटेशन को मैं बहुत वेटेज देता हूँ स्टूडेंट, बिकॉज आप जब तक करना नहीं शुरू करेंगे तब तक चीजें हैपन नहीं होती। अभी मैं एक क्वेरी सुन रहा था, सर बता रहे थे कि शॉर्ट नोट्स की बात हो रही थी। आई डोंट नो हु वाज आस्किंग। शॉर्ट नोट्स पे मैंने पहले भी बताया था स्टूडेंट्स, आप पहले स्टडी मॉड्यूल को बहुत अच्छे से कर, तरीके तो मैं समझा रहा हूं आपको। जैसे आप डेफिनेशन का बैकअप बनाओ पहले तो। अब डेफिनेशंस का जब आपके पास 50-60, आज की डेट में अगर 50 डेफिनेशन आपके पास आ गए हैं, तो आपकी लैंग्वेज ऑटोमेटिकली आनी शुरू हो जाती है। आप खुद ही अपने में चेंज देख लेना, आपकी लैंग्वेज ऑटोमेटिकली इंप्रूव हो जाती है, क्योंकि बिकॉज आपके पास 50 डेफिनेशन का खजाना आ चुका है ऑलरेडी। और फिर अगर आप बाकी जो क्वेश्चंस की तैयारी मैंने आपको बताई थी, कि आप 5 से 10 बार एक पैराग्राफ को पढ़ें और फिर उसका जो क्रक्स है अपनी लैंग्वेज में लिख लें, जो क्वेश्चंस की तैयारी, टॉपिक्स की तैयारी। तो ये आज एक नया पॉइंट मैं आपको बता रहा हूं कि आप पैराग्राफ पढ़ें। मान लीजिए एक पैराग्राफ की 10 लाइन्स है, 10 सेंटेंसेस उसमें लिखे हैं, उसको अच्छी तरह से पढ़ें, 5 से 10 बार पढ़ें। उसके बाद उसका क्रक्स अपनी लैंग्वेज में लिखें और उसको मुझे व्हाट्सएप कर दें, उसको मुझे व्हाट्सएप कर दें। और फिर मुझे फोन पे मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि इसमें कोई कमी आ रही है या नहीं आ रही, होपफुली। और ये काम आपको करना है 3 दिन लगातार रीड करने के बाद। आप देखोगे आपके शॉर्ट नोट्स ऑटोमेटिकली प्रिपेयर होने शुरू हो जाएंगे। जो आप लिखोगे वो शॉर्ट नोट्स ही है, और वो एग्जाम में लिखने लायक होगा। और आप ये देखोगे स्टूडेंट्स, आपको अपने में कितना जबरदस्त चेंज नजर आएगा, और एग्जाम में वो मार्क्स में कन्वर्ट होने ही वाला है। इट इज डेड श्योर, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है मुझे, क्योंकि बिकॉज ये सारी टाइम टेस्टेड टेक्निक्स हैं जो मैंने स्टूडेंट्स को समझाई हैं, और वो उनके मार्क्स में कन्वर्ट हुई। तो स्टूडेंट्स इस पे देर सिर्फ किस इस चीज की है कि आपने भी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करना शुरू नहीं किया। कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ने किया होगा, लेकिन कुछ ने अभी नहीं किया, मैं जानता हूं नहीं किया। और जो स्टूडेंट्स ये सुन रहे हैं और उनको पता भी है उन्होंने इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नहीं शुरू किया, वो कर दें शुरू। और करने से ही होती हैं चीजें। मैं आपको बार बार यही समझा रहा हूं कि चीजें करने से ही होंगी। इम्प्लीमेंटेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो स्टूडेंट्स इस डायरेक्शन में आपको काम शुरू करना है। ये चैप्टर तो फुल ऑफ डेफिनेशंस है। जैसे इसमें ऑडिट एविडेंस है, इसमें अदर्शन की डेफिनेशन है, इसमें अदर्शन जो अकरेंस, कंप्लीटनेस, वो सारी डेफिनेशन इसमें आ रही। इसमें फिर ऑडिट प्रोसीजर जो सर आपको समझा रहे थे, इंस्पेक्शन, ऑब्जर्वेशन, एक्सटर्नल कंफर्मेशन, वो सारी डेफिनेशन हैं। तो इसमें तो आपको, मेरे को गिनने की भी जरूरत नहीं है, आप हर रोज गिन के 5 डेफिनेशंस कर लें और आपका बैकअप धीरे धीरे बढ़ता जाएगा। यस सर, कोई स्टूडेंट्स क्वेरीज आ रही है सर?
Yes, sir. Somebody is saying 20 definitions, some is saying 25, some is
तो
saying
20 जो कह
15.
रहे हैं वो काफी कम है। हालांकि मैं अप्रिशिएट कर रहा हूँ स्टूडेंट्स, आपने शुरू कर दिया है, इसका मतलब आपने 4 दिन का काम तो कर लिया। अगर मैं कहूँ 5 डेफिनेशन आपको हर रोज करने हैं, तो आपके 20 डेफिनेशन अगर हो गए हैं, तो इसका मतलब अभी आप इसको मिस ना करो। अब कंसिस्टेंट, जो स्टडी में आपकी कंसिस्टेंसी बहुत जरूरी होती है। तो अगर आप रोज रूटीन में करेंगे, चाहे 4 डेफिनेशन करो, 3 करो, लेकिन रोज करो उसे। ये सर।
Jaya Patel is asking how to sit continuously for 4 hours.
देखो, कॉन्टिन्यूसली आप 4 घंटे बैठने का तरीका ये होता है कि आप एक बार स्टडी के आगे बैठो, बैठो तो सही, बुक के आगे बैठो और ये सोचो। ये सबसे बड़ा पॉइंट आप ये अपने माइंड में रखो कि मैं स्टडी को एंजॉय कर रहा हूँ। अब आप इंजॉय करके, जब आप माइंड में सोचो पहले कि मैं इंजॉयमेंट, दिस इज द बिगेस्ट इंजॉयमेंट, बिकॉज आपको आपके पेरेंट्स ने एक ही काम दिया, पढ़ना दिया है, आपको और कोई काम नहीं दिया हुआ। तो अगर आप वही काम सिंसियरली नहीं कर रहे, इंजॉयमेंट से नहीं कर रहे, और स्टडीज, बिलीव मी, इट इज ए बिग इंजॉयमेंट। आप अगर इंजॉयमेंट अपने माइंड में ले आते हो, तो आप देखो, आप पिक्चर 3 घंटे, आपकी शायद पलक भी ना झपके तो आप पिक्चर 3 घंटे देख के आ जाते हो। तो आप वो वाला सिचुएशन इमेजिन, और ये वाकई में ही इंजॉयमेंट है। बस आपको एक बार इसके आनंद आने की जरूरत है, एक बार आपको इंजॉयमेंट, एक बार आप ट्रैक पे 15 दिन ये काम करके देख लो। देखो, कोई ये स्टडी तपस्या तो होती है, तो 15 दिन अगर आप करोगे तो आपकी हैबिट्स बननी शुरू हो जाती हैं फिर। और हैबिट्स अगर एक बार आपकी शुरू हो गई बननी, ये वाली हैबिट बननी शुरू हो गई, तो फिर इंजॉयमेंट अपने आप ही आना शुरू हो जाएगा। आपको अभी शुरू में आपको कोशिश करनी पड़ेगी, मैं मान रहा हूँ, क्योंकि कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ये फील करते हैं स्टडी तो एक बर्डन है। तो अगर मैं उसे बर्डन मान के करूंगा, फिर मेरे को ज्यादा आउटपुट नहीं मिलती। अगर मैं उसको इंजॉयमेंट से करता हूं, तो फिर उसके रिजल्ट्स 4 गुना आने शुरू हो जाते हैं। ठीक है। तो कौन स्टूडेंट? पटेल सर? विच
Jaya
विच
Patel,
स्टूडेंट?
Jaya Patel.
जय पटेल, आप इंजॉयमेंट करके करो तो आप 4 घंटे, बिलीव नहीं, आप 8 घंटे भी पढ़ जाओ, बैठ के पढ़ जाओगे कॉन्टिन्यूसली। और बीच में आप पानी, जब भी आपको लगे तो 1 गिलास पानी पी लिया करो, 2 मिनट के लिए टहल लिया करो। तो आप, कई मेथड्स होते हैं, मैं आपको धीरे धीरे सारी बातें बताऊंगा। तो एक ये करके देखो कि अगर आपको लगे कि जैसे थोड़ा सा आप फील कर रहे हो कि अभी मैं कॉन्टिन्यूसली नहीं बैठ पा रहा, तो आप 2 मिनट टहल लिए, 1 गिलास बीच में पानी पी लिया। और अगर आपको चाय पीने का शौक है तो चाय पी सकते हो, आधा कप आप। हालांकि चाय चलो यूजफुल नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी अगर आप पीते हो तो पी सकते हो बीच में। तो आपको मेथड्स ढूंढने हैं साथ साथ, जो आप काम, जिस काम को एंजॉय करते हो तो वो थोड़ा सा बीच में आप कर सकते हो। पानी पी लिया या कुछ और, थोड़ी सी कोल्ड ड्रिंक पी ली। कोल्ड ड्रिंक हालांकि हार्मफुल होती है, लेकिन फिर भी आप 2 घूंट पी सकते हैं बीच में। तो स्टूडेंट्स, ये सारी बातें हैं जो बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है। और लेकिन इंपॉर्टेंट, सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है इम्प्लीमेंटेशन। वंस यू स्टार्ट इम्प्लीमेंटिंग द थिंग्स, तो थ्योरेटिकल सब्जेक्ट्स को मैं हमेशा ये सजेस्ट करता हूँ आप मॉर्निंग में करा करें, और जो जो आप आफ्टरनून के बाद न्यूमेरिकल सब्जेक्ट्स उठाया करें। यस सर, आर देयर मोर क्वेरीज सर?
Rahul Patel, sir, keywords are important.
वेरी
Can you give
इंपॉर्टेंट, नॉट ओनली इंपॉर्टेंट, कीवर्ड्स
can
आपके
you
अपने
give
आप बन जाएंगे।
examples?
देखो, आप कीवर्ड्स की बात कर रहे हो ना, जो डेफिनेशन पार्ट है, इसीलिए तो मैं आपको बार बार बोल रहा हूँ कि आप डेफिनेशन पार्ट को एक बार 5 टाइम्स रीड करके और बिल्कुल वर्ड टू वर्ड आप अपने माइंड में अगर उसको एस्टेब्लिश कर लोगे, तो आपकी लैंग्वेज ऑटोमेटिकली आ जाएगी, कीवर्ड्स ऑटोमेटिकली आपके बनने शुरू हो जाएंगे। और जब आप लिखेंगे तो कीवर्ड्स आएंगे ही आपके सामने। तो ये आपको फिर बनाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। तैयारी, ये मैं जो आपको मेथड्स बता रहा हूँ, इससे तैयारी ऑटोमेटिकली आपकी होने वाली है, कोई करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। आप तो बस जो मैं कह रहा हूँ वो करो एक बार, और उसको अगर आप रिलीजियसली, मैं कहता हूँ 10 डेज भी कर गए, 11 डेज तक, तो आप फिर आपको करने से कोई रोकेगा नहीं। आप तो मुझे कहोगे सर अब हम कर ही पा रहे हैं। तो मेरे आज कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने 10-12 दिन रेगुलर कर लिया है। वो अपने नाम एक बार लिख के बताएं मुझे, जिन्होंने, कोई स्टूडेंट ने क्या ये बोला है कि मैंने 60 50 60 डेफिनेशन कर लिए सर? आया कोई रिप्लाई?
50-60 का तो नहीं आया सर,
50
15
का जबकि
20
आना चाहिए सर।
25
मैं तो,
30।
मेरे ख्याल 10 डेज तो मुझे हो ही गए हैं सर।
Might be one or two, but
1-2 स्टूडेंट्स को सर मैं कॉम्प्लीमेंट तो दे देता हूँ, उनके नाम।
Priyanka Malkhede, 32 definitions.
32 डेफिनेशन अभी तक हाईएस्ट आया स्टूडेंट्स। ये मेरे ख्याल से, अगर चलो 5 डेफिनेशन तो 7 डेज का काम अप्रोक्सीमेटली तो है ये। तो चलो
And
प्रियंका।
Priyanka Pandey is saying, sir, we sat for studies, but after 1 hour we get so leisure.
तो मैंने अभी तरीका बताया प्रियंका पांडे, आप उसको एक बार इम्प्लीमेंट करो, फिर मैं नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में जब आऊंगा तो इस बारे में मैं फिर ये पॉइंट याद रखूंगा, और मैं फिर बात करूंगा। और जो शेड्यूल रजिस्टर की बात मैंने करी है, लास्ट लेक्चर में मैंने बात करी थी स्टूडेंट्स, शेड्यूल रजिस्टर एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मेथोडोलॉजी है, एक आपकी वे ऑफ स्टडी है, जो कि आपको एक स्टडी से बांधे रखता है। आप 1-2 दिन तो बना के देखो, और फिर आप तीसरे दिन उसे देखो पीछे आपने क्या काम किया है, तो अपने काम को रिव्यू करो, और फिर आगे आपको उसमें इंप्रूवमेंट्स खुद ही सजेस्ट करो। आप मेरे फोन नंबर सर ने लिख दिया, आप मुझे फोन करके पूछ सकते हो। तो फोन पे अभी तो हमारी बातचीत जैसे लेक्चर में तो नहीं हो सकती, लेकिन फोन पे तो हो ही सकती है। कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ने मुझे कॉल भी किया और मैं उनको बहुत अप्रिशिएट कर रहा हूँ। कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ने अपनी क्वेरीज मेरे से फोन पे पूछी हैं। तो मैं अभी नाम तो नहीं रिकॉल कर पा रहा, लेकिन साउथ इंडिया से कुछ स्टूडेंट्स थे, कुछ नॉर्थ से। तो वो जब फोन पे पूछते हैं तो 1-to-1 एक कम्युनिकेशन जब होता है फोन पे स्टूडेंट्स, तो स्टूडेंट्स को बड़े अच्छे से समझ में आता है कि सर क्या। तो आप मुझे फोन कर सकते हो, और मैंने तो अपने फोन नंबर आपको शेयर कर ही दिए। तो आप कभी भी कॉल कर सकते हो, और मैं फोन जरूर उठाता हूँ। जिन्होंने कॉल किया है उनको मालूम है, मैंने उनको कॉल बैक किया अगर उनकी कॉल मिस हो गई थी तो। और यहाँ तक भी एडवाइस हो जाती है। अभी एक स्टूडेंट ने पूछा कि सर, जैसे कि मुझे चीजों को दिमाग में स्टेब्लिश करने के लिए सेम डे का लेक्चर, सर उसकी स्टूडेंट ने बहुत अच्छा एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था कि मुझे सेम डे का लेक्चर 2 दिन तक जा रहा है, 2 दिन में मैं कर पा रही हूँ। तो ये तो और अप्रिशिएबल है। अगर आप सेम डे का लेक्चर 2 दिन तक, 2 दिन मतलब 2 दिन आप उस पर ज्यादा टाइम डिवोट करके उसको एस्टेब्लिश कर पा रहे हो, तो वो ज्यादा टाइम तक आपके साथ रहने वाला है। ये स्लो स्टडी है जो मैं आपको बताता हूँ। कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, आप एटलीस्ट कर तो रहे हो ना उस चीज को, आप 5 बार 10 बार रीड कर रहे हो। तो चीजें आप अभी ऑडिटिंग, जैसे कि फोर्थ चैप्टर पे हम पहुंच चुके हैं, अब तो ऑडिटिंग के आपके जो लिंकेजेस बहुत जबरदस्त तरीके से बनने शुरू हो जाएंगे। और फिफ्थ चैप्टर तो एक पूरे पीक पे आपको पहुंचा के रख देगा। तो स्टूडेंट्स, ये सारी बातें हैं जो मैं आपसे ये बातें करता रहूंगा, और ये ऑडिटिंग के सब्जेक्ट में ये सारी बातें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस। और ये बड़ी काम आने वाली बातें हैं आपकी एग्जाम के अंदर। तो सर आपको कितने गहरे पानी में उतार देते हैं ये मैं देख रहा हूं, कि कहाँ तक ले जाके वो कॉन्सेप्ट को डीप रूटेड आपके माइंड में स्टेब्लिश कर देते हैं। आपका नॉलेज बैकअप इतना जबरदस्त तरीके से बढ़ा देते हैं। तो स्टूडेंट्स, ऑडिटिंग कंसेप्चुअल सब्जेक्ट है, इसमें कंसेप्ट्स हैं, वो कंसेप्ट्स माइंड में रखने बहुत जरूरी है। और सर आपका नॉलेज बार बार, सर जो बोल रहे हैं बार बार सुनो उनको, देखो चीजें उस सुनने से भी स्टेब्लिश हो जाएंगी आपके माइंड में। बार बार सुनो वो कंसेप्ट, बार बार समझो, और फिर उसे 5 टाइम्स 10 टाइम्स रीड करते हो, तो रिजल्ट्स अपने आप ही आएंगे। रिजल्ट्स, डोंट रन आफ्टर मार्क्स, डोंट रन आफ्टर रिजल्ट्स। तो आउटकम वो ऑटोमेटिक होने वाला है, बस आप तरीके वो करो जो हम आपको बता रहे हैं। यस सर।
यस सर, और तो क्वेरीज नहीं है सर कुछ।
ठीक है सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। और
थैंक यू सर फॉर योर वाइज वर्ड्स। थैंक्स
थैंक
सो
यू
मच।
स्टूडेंट्स, थैंक यू स्टूडेंट्स, आप करते रहें और मुझे फोन पे बताते रहें। व्हाट्सएप करो तो एक बार मुझे कॉल जरूर कर दिया करो कि सर मैंने व्हाट्सएप किया है। थैंक यू स्टूडेंट्स, थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू सो मच सर।
ये सर एक बात और सर, व्हाट्सएप के लिए स्टूडेंट्स मेरा नंबर 9466789298 वाला यूज कर लें व्हाट्सएप के लिए। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू स्टूडेंट्स।
So now students, we shall be moving to essay 501. Now we shall be moving to essay 501. So we are at page 4.68 of your module, guys. Essay 501. So essay 501 relates to audit evidence, specific consideration for selected items. So essay 501 talks about the responsibilities of auditor while obtaining audit evidence in relation to inventories. Three things it talks about: inventories, litigation and claims involving the entity, and segment information. So what are the litigation and claims? When the company is in some dispute, the matter is in court of law. So litigation means when the some matter is in dispute, it is in court of law. And segment information. So segment information is when the company deals in, say, different type of products and services, or when it deals in different geographical areas where different laws applies. So the information has to be presented segment wise in accordance with AS 17, Accounting Standard 17. So you will be reading about it in Accounting Standard 17. So then you would be gaining a better understanding. But here we have to see it from the perspective of an auditor. So essay 501 deals with three things regarding audit evidence, relating to three things. One is relating to inventories. Second thing is relating to litigations and claims involving the entity. And third thing relates to segment information. So first of all, we shall be talking about inventories. So what does SA 501 state about inventories? As far as inventories are concerned, what does SA 501 say about it? It states that the objective of auditor is to obtain what? Is to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding what? Regarding existence and condition of inventory. तो स्टूडेंट्स ये चीज आप अपने दिमाग में बिठा लें, आप एस्टेब्लिश कर लें कि एसए 501 में ऑडिटर इन्वेंट्रीज की दो चीजों के बारे में सफिशिएंट एप्रोप्रिएट ऑडिट एविडेंस लेता है. तो वो दो चीजें कौन सी हैं? एग्जिस्टेंस और कंडीशन. एग्जिस्टेंस का मतलब है कि वो इन्वेंट्रीज इनफेक्ट है, कि वो इन्वेंट्री एग्जिस्ट करती है. और कंडीशन का मतलब है कि उसकी कंडीशन क्या है, कि वो ठीक है, कोई पुराने गुड्स तो नहीं है, बहुत पुरानी इन्वेंट्रीज तो नहीं है जिनकी वैल्यू कम हो गई है बिकॉज दीज आर डैमेज्ड. तो उनकी कंडीशन क्या है? क्या वो से कोई अगर मैं से अगर मेरी इन्वेंट्री राइस है, कोई एडिबल प्रोडक्ट्स है, तो क्या वो खराब तो नहीं हो गए? वेदर दीज आर फंगस रिडन, कोई पुराना स्टॉक पड़ा हुआ है जो मार्केट में बिक ही नहीं सकता, या जो सिर्फ एज एनिमल फीड यूज होगा, या एनिमल फीड भी यूज नहीं हो सकता. तो these kind of things, existence and condition of inventories. So SA 501 में students remember, when we talk about inventories, we talk about existence and condition. Remember these two words, these are very important. So when we talk about inventories, we in SA 501, we talk about existence and condition of inventories. So what does SA 501 state? It states that, guys, you are able to see the screen? Yes. Drop a mail, guys. Is the screen visible to you? So when inventory is material to the financial statements, the auditor shall obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding existence and condition of inventories by how? By attendance at physical inventory counting. Now, very important, guys. So what does this mean? So when inventory is material, when inventory is significant to the financial statements, how the auditor will obtain audit evidence? He shall obtain audit evidence by attending physical inventory count. So recently, some time back, some student was asking how whether physical inventory count is falls within the scope of audit. Yes, attending physical inventory count falls within the scope of an audit. The auditor has to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence by attending physical inventory count process. So जो physical inventory, students, you have to understand that would be done by the company, that management would be doing it, company's employees would be doing it. So what is your duties as an auditor? Your duty as an auditor is to attend that process, to attend that event, and to see how the things are being performed. So what you would be doing? you would be observing first of all. So first of all, you would be observing that what are the management's instructions for carrying out the physical count process. Like management may have prepared a program that physical verification is to be conducted in such and such way. So you would be going through those instructions, that what is the management's program for carrying out physical inventory count process, and you would be seeing the people, the persons actually counting inventories. So you would be observing. So by observing also, you would be obtaining audit evidence. And whatever the management has written about the program, whatever program management has devised, you shall also be evaluating whether this this type of program is proper in view of the nature of the business of the company, whether it takes into account all the aspects, what different type of inventories can be there in relation to the company, in relation to its nature of business, in relation to the kind of business the company is in. So these things you would be evaluating. So when you would be going through these documents, you would be inspecting these documents. So you would be simultaneously, you would be doing many things. You would be inspecting the management instructions, you would be inspecting the documents, and you would be seeing others. You would be observing others perform some other processes, some processes. So attendance at physical inventory counting is necessary unless impracticable. So it is necessary in all circumstances unless it is totally impracticable. Like some event might happen, like say there may be certain some natural disaster has taken place, and the auditor cannot go to the plant of the company. Say for the next 6 months, the roads are totally, the area is not accessible, and there is no way the auditor can reach the plant of the company. And this difficulty remains for, say, for considerable period of time, by it exceeds the period by which the audit has to be completed. So or you can say that by going there, there may be some risk to the safety of the auditor. He himself would be in a danger because situation is such. Okay, so these are examples of impracticability. But in all other cases, the auditor has to attend the physical inventory counting. Okay. So what he would do? He would evaluate management's instructions and procedures for recording and controlling the results of physical inventory counting. So सबसे पहले तो वो क्या करेगा? The auditor would say कि आप कि पहले तो वो देखा है कि मैनेजमेंट का क्या प्रोग्राम है, फिजिकल इन्वेंटरी काउंटिंग के बारे में मैनेजमेंट का क्या प्रोग्राम है, और वो क्या प्रोग्राम प्रॉपर है, वो क्या जिस टाइप की इन्वेंटरीज है, क्या वो हर एक चीज को कवर करता है। से कंपनी का काफी इन्वेंटरीज जो है, से कंपनी का नेचर ऑफ बिजनेस ऐसा है कि उसकी काफी इन्वेंटरीज जो है वर्क इन प्रोसेस में रहती है। इट इज ऑलवेज ह्यूज इन्वेंटरीज आर इन द वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस स्टेज. So whether the program includes the fact that how those inventories which are which are in the nature of work in progress, what is the procedure, what method management has devised to verify, to estimate these. Okay. observe the performance of management's count procedures. So this, I've been telling you that companies' employees are counting. The auditor is just observing. He is just observing how companies' employees are counting. And number 3 is inspect the inventory. So what he will do? He would inspect the inventory. He would inspect, he would see कि कौन सा प्रोडक्ट है, कौन से गुड्स हैं. Say if the company is engaged in business of obtaining rice. Okay, to take the example of a rice seller, the company is engaged in business of obtaining rice from paddy. So there are two types of products. There would be final product, finished product, rice, and raw material would be paddy. There would be packing material or some other things, other byproducts which may be generated. So he would be inspecting the inventory to see what is the nature of inventory. तो जो मेरा इन्वेंट्री का ब्रेकअप है उसमें वही प्रोडक्ट तो आने चाहिए जो एक्चुअल में है कंपनी के पास. It may be paddy, it may be rice, it may be rice bran. And perform test counts. So what do you mean by performing test count? It means that he has to count inventory on a test basis. There is a full godown of rice which is say stored in stacks. Bags are stored along with walls and up to say 10 feet height, and these are stored in such a way. So the auditor can verify one stack. How many bags are there in one stack? And thereafter he can count the number of stacks and arrive at the estimate, and whether by performing such a count he can know whether the counting made by the company staff is proper or not. Okay. And performing audit procedures over the entity's final inventory records. And what he would also verify, company's inventories records. कि जो what he has attended at the physical count process, whether the same is reconciling with the company's inventory records. So clear students? Yes, Priyanka, you are saying the auditor's right to visit the premises, there are no restrictions. The auditor can visit. There are no restrictions as such. So attending physical inventory count involves again these three things which we have discussed. Number 1 is inspecting the inventory. 2, what is its purpose? To ascertain its existence and condition. To ascertain its existence and condition, and performing test counts. So this is one of the purpose, that when an auditor attends inventory count, he gains evidence, he gathers evidence that inventory in fact exists. ये कोई, it is not in the air, हवा में नहीं है कि बुक्स में खाली स्टॉक आ रहा है, एक्चुअल में है नहीं. So he inspects the inventories to ascertain their existence and condition. Two things, students, never forget these two things. कि SA 501 में ऑडिटर का पर्पस है टू गेन ऑडिट एविडेंस अबाउट एग्जिस्टेंस एंड कंडीशन ऑफ इन्वेंटरीज. नेवर फॉरगेट, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Existence and condition, remember these two words. So these are two key words. So like students, you are time and again asking which are the keywords. Now probably Rahul Patel was asking, he was asking what are the keywords. So these are the keywords right in front of you. कि जब आप SA 501 रिमेंबर कर रहे हैं तो आपको याद करना है कि एग्जिस्टेंस एंड कंडीशन, भाई वो आपको दिमाग में आपने स्टूडेंट समझा बिठा के रखना है. ये दो वर्ड्स भूल नहीं जाना. एग्जिस्टेंस और कंडीशन पे ही द होल SA 501 इज स्टैंडिंग. ओके. ऑब्जर्विंग कंप्लायंस विद मैनेजमेंट इंस्ट्रक्शंस. Again derived from the first point, that what is the program of the management, how the management is carrying out the physical counting process, what the program has been devised by the management, who has been assigned the responsibility, whether a responsible person has been given the responsibility to see that that the persons who are counting or persons who are physically verifying, they are doing their job properly, because the auditor cannot give instructions to them. Okay. So obtaining audit evidence as to reliability of management's count procedures, and whatever management has counted or whatever management has physically verified, whether these are correct, on whether these are proper, by carrying test counts. So yes, Madhav Tiwari, test count means that he is counting on test basis. टेस्ट काउंट का यही मतलब है. यू हैव अंडरस्टूड राइटली कि अगर सपोज किसी राइस शेलर यूनिट में 1,00,000 बैग्स हैं राइस के, तो ऑडिटर सारे काउंट नहीं करेगा, उसमें ही वुड टेस्ट काउंट. ओके. से ही वुड टेस्ट काउंट whatever he feels is proper, say 5,000 bags or 2,000 bags, and then he would amplify his results. ओके. कि उसमें कोई गलती नहीं मिली, जो उसने काउंट किया, मैनेजमेंट के लोगों ने काउंट किया, वो भी 2,000 बैग्स थे, मैंने भी काउंट किया 2,000 बैग्स हैं, तो ही वुड बी गेनिंग ए सेटिस्फेक्शन. So he is not supposed to so therefore he has to make a test count. Okay. So matters relevant in planning attendance at physical inventory count. So students, when an auditor plans physical inventory count, so obviously when it is decided then that an auditor would attend physical inventory count, obviously he would have to plan the things कि भैया मेरे को इस दिन जाना है और वहां पे मेरे को स्टॉक वेरीफाई करना है, तो उसके दिमाग में प्लान होगी कि भैया उस कंपनी, वो कंपनी क्या क्या प्रोडक्ट्स में डील करती है, किस टाइप का उसका पैटर्न होगा, किस टाइप का स्टॉकिंग होगा, क्या उसमें वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस ज्यादा होगा, तो वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस कैसे वेरीफाई होगा, और क्या चांसेस है, व्हाट आर द चांसेस दैट इन्वेंट्री कुड बी मिसस्टेटेड, और कंपनी का इंटरनल कंट्रोल क्या है इन्वेंटरीज के बारे में. सो दीज ऑल थिंग्स शुड बी आर रेलिवेंट फॉर प्लानिंग हिज अटेंडेंस. सो वेन एवर ही प्लान्स हिज अटेंडेंस एट द इन्वेंटरी काउंट, ही वुड बी planning about certain things, and in planning those things, these points are relevant. In planning those things, these points are relevant, like nature of inventories, like stage of completion of work in progress, Like some in some industries, in some products, it takes a long time to make a finished product. It may take, say, 2 months or 1 month or even more to complete a product, to complete the production cycle. So there would be huge quantities in work in progress. Then at what is the stage of completion of work in progress? That would be a matter relevant to him, because ultimately it would be affecting final figure which is there in the balance sheet. So the risk of material misstatement related to inventory. So what are the chances that inventories could be misstated? What are the chances that inventories could be misstated? What is the risk? Okay, what is the risk? So because if the inventories are material, so obviously he would have assessed whether there is low risk or whether a high risk or whether it is a normal risk. So what is the nature of internal control related to the inventory? So how the company exercises control that that stocks are safe, that there are no theft, and these are properly stored. Okay. It's Madhav Tiwari here. Yes, condition is not a verb. Yes, you are right. It is not a verb. It shows that conditions, nature and condition of inventory, उसकी स्थिति क्या है, एग्जिस्टेंस एंड कंडीशन ऑफ द इन्वेंटरी, कि क्या वो इन्वेंटरीज एग्जिस्ट करती हैं और उनकी स्थिति क्या है. वर्ब नहीं यूज हो रहा. यू आर राइट. So whether adequate procedures are expected to be established and proper instructions issued for physical inventory counting and timing of physical inventory counting, that is also very important. So whether inventory counting is taking place at the year end or during the year, that is also a relevant factor to be seen by the auditor. Okay. Whether the entity maintains a perpetual inventory system. So perpetual inventory system, students, you have read about it in your accounts also, probably in foundation exams also, that perpetual inventory system means where stocks are updated on a real time basis. कोई भी अगर ऑर्डर भी प्लेस करना है तो वो इन्वेंट्री के डाटाबेस में जाता है. किसी जैसे ही कोई आइटम सेल होती है वो इमीडिएटली स्टॉक से माइनस होती है. तो perpetual means a system of maintaining records, continuous system of maintaining records, where purchase, sales, and all production, these are automatically fed into the system, so that we get a overall picture of the stocks on a very near to real time basis. So usually larger companies which have huge inventories, they employ perpetual inventory system. So the location at which inventory is held, कितनी location है. So whether inventory जो कि कंपनी की फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में आ रही है, whether it is held at a single locations and 10 locations, क्या डिफरेंट कंपनी के गोडाउन्स हैं कंट्री में, या डिफरेंट स्टेट्स में जहां पे इन्वेंट्री है, या कंपनी के अलग अलग 5 प्लांट्स हैं, या एक ही जगह पे है. तो ऑडिटर को प्लान करने में उसको दिस फैक्टर इज रेलिवेंट. एंड वेदर और कोई कॉम्प्लेक्स ऐसा प्रोसेस है जिसको कि ऑडिटर को भी एक्सपर्ट की जरूरत है to understand about the condition of inventories, to understand about the estimation of inventories. Say students, chemical industry, जिसमें काफी, सपोज कोई कंपनी है जो कंपनीज केमिकल्स बना रही हैं और काफी माल जो है, काफी जो स्टॉक है उनका, इन्वेंटरीज, दोज रिमेन इन पाइपलाइंस. So auditor may not be well versed with these things. So he obviously he may need help of an expert, and even management may have taken the help of expert to estimate the quantities lying in such a situation. Okay, so when management takes the help of expert who is not connected with the field of accounting or auditing in the preparation of financial statements, so we call it as a management expert. We say that he is a management expert, but condition is that he should not be an expert in the field of auditing or accounting, because here the auditor is expert. Okay, so he is, such a person is known as management experts. And auditor's expert means when an expert is needed by the auditor to understand the work done by management expert. So I have given you a practical examples. Okay. Yes, Rito, these matters are considered. Yes, these matters are considered. You are right, Rito Banerjee. These matters are considered before the inventory attendance is planned. So कुछ ना कुछ तो students, you have to understand that auditor plan करके जाएगा कि मेरे को वहां पे क्या करना है, कि ऐसे ना कि चला जाए खाओ कहाँ इन्वेंटरी पड़ी है, जब उसको नेचर ऑफ बिजनेस का ही नहीं पता, उसको पता ही नहीं कि कंपनी का इन्वेंटरी कंट्रोल सिस्टम कैसा है. सो कैसे वो ऑडिट एविडेंस करेगा, या उसको पता ही नहीं कि कंपनी की इन्वेंटरीज कहाँ कहाँ पड़ी हो सकती है. वो तभी पॉसिबल है जब उसने पहले कंपनी के बारे में स्टडी किया होगा, when he has gained an understanding. So students, link it again to chapter 3. So that is why we say that understanding of the company is the basic requirement. That understanding a company first becomes the basic and foremost requirement. उसके बिना तो कोई ऑडिट प्लान ही नहीं बन सकती स्टूडेंट्स. ओके. And if the physical inventory counting is conducting at a date other than the date of financial statements, the auditor shall, in addition to the procedures perform audit procedures that whether changes in inventory between the count date and date of financial statements are properly recorded. Say students, it so happens that the auditor is not able to attend the inventory count as on 31st March. Okay, so he, due to some reason, practical difficulty, he attends the inventory count on 10th April. So what he would do, he would take the inventory count on 10th April and go backwards and make adjustments to that. कि 1 से 10 के बीच में what were the sales, what were the purchases, and accordingly he would make those adjustments and try to arrive that whether the quantity shown by as on 31st March is proper or not. Okay. So again, students, if the auditor is unable to attend physical inventory count due to unforeseen circumstances, if he is unable to attend, so what he will do, if he is unable to attend on 31st March, then if he attends on 15th April, say, then he shall make a count on that date and then perform audit procedures on intervening transactions, like I have been telling you. Like he will make adjustment for purchases and sales, and then he would arrive at the quantity for as on 31st March. So, but if he is not able to attend, but it does not give him freedom that he has no duty in this regard. He would say that, oh, it was difficult, that something happened that I could not attend. No, if he attends at later date, then he would he would modify his procedures to arrive at the quantities for year end. Okay. And if the attendance at inventory count becomes impracticable, so when we are saying that, look, it is not possible at all to attend the physical inventory count, it has become impracticable, the roads are closed, and these are not going to open for 5 months, 6 months, and the audit has to be completed before that. So what would happen? So can auditor skip? Is there no duty upon him to carry any procedure? No, he has the duty. So in only case when the attendance at inventory count becomes impracticable, the auditor can prove that it was not possible for me to go there. Even then, in that situation, the auditor shall perform alternative audit procedures to confirm what is there in SA 501. So SA 501 में क्या है, क्या करना मांगता है उसमें? SA 501 में to ascertain existence and condition of the inventories. So अगर वो physical count process नहीं attend कर पाया, so he would perform some alternative procedure to gather evidence about existence and condition of inventories. So like what could be the example of such a procedure? Like वो जो मैनेजमेंट ने उसको लिस्ट दी है कि इतना मेरा स्टॉक था 31 मार्च को इन आइटम्स का, दैट दीज आइटम्स वर लाइंग इन स्टॉक. सो लाइक say he can see the sales of subsequent period, whether these items have been sold later on in the month of April or May. So if these are sold in month of April and May, okay, then these must be lying in the stocks as on 31st March. Or he would have to see whether these have been sold from the fresh stocks purchased in month of April. So these kind of procedures he would have to adopt, and if he is not able to adopt, then he would have to modify his opinion. He may have to see what is impact of it on his opinion, whether he needs to modify his opinion because he is not able to gather sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding inventories. Yes, clear guys? And when inventories are under the custody of third parties, what will the auditor do? So students, we have discussed the term job work in previous classes. So job work, you understand, is when the company is getting work done from certain third parties. ये डॉली परपेचुअल इन्वेंटरी मैं पहले ही समझा चुका हूं. सो जब ये लेक्चर कंक्लूड होगा तो आप इसी वीडियो को रिवाइंड करके देख लें. प्रॉबली आपने सुना नहीं या कहीं और बिजी होंगे आप. परपेचुअल इन्वेंटरी मैं समझा चुका हूं. सो थर्ड पार्टीज के पास स्टॉक रहता है जॉब वर्क में. सो वो स्टॉक किसका होता है स्टूडेंट? दिस स्टॉक बिलोंग्स टू द कंपनी. से आई एम ए शर्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी and I have sent some fabric for stitching to Mr. X or to another company, to another firm. So whose stock is this? This stock is mine. This stock is company's, but it is not lying in the premises of the company. It is not lying in the factory of the company. It is lying at somebody else premises. It is lying at somebody else मैन्युफैक्चरिंग फैसिलिटीज. सो अब तो ऑडिटर के लिए तो ये बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा. हाउ ही शुड कंडक्ट फिजिकल इन्वेंटरी काउंट. So what does SA 501 state about it? It states that it would request confirmation from third party as to quantity and condition of inventory. So either he would ask from the third party जिसके पास स्टॉक पड़ा है कि आप you please confirm us what is the stock you are holding on behalf of this company, what is the quantity you are holding and what is its condition, that these are in good condition. You have to confirm. You can take a confirmation letter from that job worker. So it would serve as evidence that so much stock is lying with the job worker as on a particular date. Okay, and perform inspection or other appropriate procedures, or if it is possible to go to that party's premises, then go there, perform inspection or other audit procedures. So other audit procedures mean like inspecting documentation held by other parties or asking other parties auditor to confirm that such stocks are lying. So it can be anything. Like I have sent the shirts to another company for job work. I have sent the fabric to another company for job work. Then I may request the auditor of that company to attend the third party's physical count process. So it depends upon the practicality of the situation. What are the situation? So it is not necessary that you go to the premises of third party. It is not necessary. You can inspect or you can perform any other procedure. Okay, you can inspect document or any other thing which provides you the evidence. So yes, students, you are clear about as far as this part of SA 501 is concerned relating to inventories. Yes, Madhav Tiwari, you are asking intervening transaction. Intervening जो दो पीरियड के बीच में होती हैं, जैसे कि 31 मार्च को ऑडिटर वेरीफाई नहीं कर पाया इन्वेंट्रीज, उसने 15 अप्रैल को इन्वेंट्री काउंट प्रोसेस को अटेंड किया, तो 31 मार्च और 15 अप्रैल के जो बीच की ट्रांजैक्शन है, इंटरवीनिंग ट्रांजैक्शन, इंटरवीनिंग पीरियड, उसको इंटरवीनिंग ट्रांजैक्शन कहते हैं. क्लियर टू यू माधव तिवारी? सो फॉर क्विक समरी, so students, SA 501 is still not complete. SA 501 has 3 parts. Remember, SA 501 has 3 parts. One is relating to inventories, another is relating to litigations and claims involving the entity, and another is relating to segment information. So we have just completed only first part of SA 501 relating to inventories. So students, again, SA 501, as far as inventories are concerned, casts a duty upon the auditor to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding existence and condition of inventories. So he has to attend the physical inventory counting process. He has to evaluate the management's instructions, the plan, the program formulated by the management for carrying out such physical verification, and he has to observe the count process being performed by others. He has to inspect the inventories and he has to test count also. So he has to test count also. So inventory attendance at inventory counting process is mandatory, students, unless impracticable. only in those conditions where it is not practicable, like there is a some safety issue of the auditor, or if the auditor cannot access the plant, auditor cannot go to the manufacturing facility of the company due to some reason, due to some natural disaster, or due to some another social reason. So only in that case the auditor can skip, but in all other cases he has to attend the inventory counting process. But even in those cases where it is impracticable for the auditor to attend the inventory count, he has to anyway perform alternative audit procedures to gather sufficient appropriate audit evidence. वो तो उसको लेना ही लेना है, अगर इन्वेंट्री काउंट नहीं तो किसी और प्रोसीजर से, और अगर नहीं मिल पाता then he would may have to modify his opinion. Okay, so clear guys, gist of SA 501 बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसके बारे में क्वेश्चन भी आते हैं, और ये आपको स्टूडेंट्स अपने दिमाग में इसको बिठा लेना है बिल्कुल कि SA 501 में ऑडिटर क्या क्या करता है. And Dolly, you are again asking about perpetual inventory system. Perpetual inventory system, Dolly, आपको ये समझना है कि ये एक इन्वेंट्रीज को मेंटेन करने का सिस्टम है, कि इन्वेंट्रीज उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कैसे मेंटेन होंगी. तो जैसे उसमें रिकॉर्ड्स जो है परपेचुअल इन्वेंट्रीज में रियल टाइम में अपडेट होते हैं. जैसे ही कोई सेल हुई आपके स्टॉक रिकॉर्ड से इमीडिएटली माइनस होगी, जैसे ही कोई परचेज हुई स्टॉक रिकॉर्ड में ऑटोमेटिकली वो ऐड हो जाएगी. उससे आपको रियल टाइम का स्टॉक पता चल जाता है, और फिजिकल काउंट पे आपकी डिपेंडेंस कम रहती है थोड़ी, क्योंकि आपने पहले ही सिस्टम ऐसा बना रखा है. आप फिजिकल काउंट तो करोगे लेकिन उस पर आपकी डिपेंडेंस कम रहेगी. अगर आपका सिस्टम इतना इलेबोरेट है तो जिन कंपनीज के पास ह्यूज स्टॉक होता है वो परपेचुअल इन्वेंट्री सिस्टम मेंटेन करती है. ओके डॉली, होप इट इज क्लियर टू यू नाउ. Yes, Ashok, what is your query? Sorry, I have not been able to see. Yes, Ashok. क्या क्वेरीज हैं आपकी आज के लेक्चर में, अशोक? You have not sent any query, Ashok. There is no query today in in my mailbox. Yes, Ashok. Any query relating to today lecture? Relating to today's lecture? One message is your good morning message, and second message is now. So probably you there is a problem at your end, at which queries are not coming from your mailbox, Ashok. Yes, Ashok Haryal. There is no query from your end today. Yes, I am waiting for your response for 1-2 minutes, Ashok. There is no query from your end today, Ashok. Only one greeting message and one message now. There are only 2 messages. Yes, Ashok. Now you are saying, should the auditor attach the evidence to the repost? What you are saying? To the report probably. No, he is not to attach. He does not attach the evidence to his report. What he does is he keeps the evidence in an audit file with him. It is part of his audit working papers. He is not going to attach all these evidence, all the work done with this report. So when he issues a report, it is a report which only gives opinion. It does not have supporting papers कि मैंने ये किया, मैंने ये किया. It is not like that. Whatever he has done, whatever audit evidence he has gathered, he keeps it in his audit file. It is part of his documentation. It is part of his working papers. Yes, Ashok, clear to you? Yes, key points, Divyakshi, I will upload of this chapter when we are substantially in this chapter. Yes, Ashok, any of your other query? Because we have to wind up also. Any of your other query relating to this chapter? Any of your other queries, Ashok Kharial? So I think the point is clear to you that the auditor does not attach these documents, the evidence collected by him, or say the proof of his having attended at physical inventory counting process with this report. No. He is not doing such type of things. He would be keeping these things within his audit file that he will show when required. So it is part of his audit working papers. It is part of his audit documentation. Okay, guys. So it's over for today. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.